All right, we've got Kari Lake joining us now from the great state of Arizona. She knows a thing or two about wildfires, and it's good to have you on. And she also knows a lot about incompetence in government. And Kari, thanks for coming on tonight. When you look at what they've done and just widen out everything that you've seen the last few days in California, what are your top line thoughts?
It's unbelievable. I have seen the footage coming out of there, the pictures, the aftermath, and it's just impossible to comprehend. We've spent so many weeks and days and enjoying California over the years because for Arizonans, we escaped the summer heat by going to California. So these are neighborhoods we know. Everyone in Arizona has friends in California, and it's devastating what they're going through. And it's just absolute incompetence by local and state officials. I mean, you look at what Gavin Newsom has done, and you look back to COVID, when he shut down churches, when he forced the vaccine mandates, when he forced the DEI mandates on and basically weakened first responders because of that. And it's all playing out the consequences of that right now. Yeah. And here in Arizona, we have our fair share of fires. We've had massive fires. Of course, the Yarnell fire, which took the lives of 19 wildland firefighters. We've had the Rodeo Chetaskai fire that scarred and burned so many homes and thousands and hundreds of thousands of acres. So we understand fires, but for them not to have any water in the fire hydrants, you can point right at Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Weak leadership. He spends too much time running his mouth, not enough time running the state. They've done nothing to thin out their forests. They've done nothing to preserve water and build reservoirs. And then at the end of the day, they end up taking water from states like Arizona. And the people of this country are sick of it. And the people of California, I believe, are sick of it as well.
And imagine you send $220 billion to Sacramento every year, and you can't even figure out fires in the year 2025. We've got AI, but they can't figure out fire and water. Karen Bass, the mayor of L.A., many others are getting crucified for the lack of preparedness here. They've blown through millions on left-wing nonsense instead of investing into their own infrastructure, maybe tethering the fire hydrants to ocean water, which we've investigated. That's done in a lot of places because it's abundant. You can't run out. Yeah. Bringing in more water from the north. But here is, as all of this comes out, and these leaders are getting lambasted, and Gavin Newsom sees 2028 potentially disappearing before his very eyes. He's now yelling at Joe Biden that something has to be done to stop disinformation. Take a listen to this.
I ask you, we've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation, lies. People want to divide this country, and we're going to have to address that as well.
Oh, boy.
Go right ahead.
I'm so tired of that term.
Yeah.
Whenever a politician screws up in this day and age, they blame it on misinformation, disinformation. These are the facts. Thousands of people lost their homes, lost everything except the clothes on their back. Lives were lost. Neighborhoods have been wiped out. That's not misinformation. There's no water in the fire hydrants. And Gavin Newsom cares more about his hair gel than helping the people of his state. The mayor is in Africa on a junket. She's not in the city of Los Angeles. I don't care if you have a D or an R behind your name. You need to be run out of office for what happened in California. And the people happen to have Ds behind their name. Yeah. Frankly, they're Fs, they're failures. They failed the people. And I think this is a huge wake-up call for California. That leadership matters. The problem is voting these people out of office is going to be difficult. We know how they run their elections there with mail-in ballots coming out of everywhere. And it's really hard for the people of California. We need help in this country. It's going to come from President Trump and this great administration. Yeah. I know he cares about the people of California, the people of New York. You talked about some of the devastation on the streets of New York as well. We're going to actually save all of these wonderful, once wonderful cities and once wonderful states and bring this country together under great leadership, safety, and security.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. And I mean, just it's just so funny because they always have a way, no matter how incompetent they run the government, they have ways of figuring out how to word things so it's not their fault. They have all these little clever games, and then they call everything disinformation. I want to point out one thing to you really quick. as far as insurance goes, there's a lot of people that are looking at the insurance industry, and these companies that have pulled out. State Farm releasing a statement back in March of last year, so a little less than a year ago. They canceled a total of 72,000 policyholders, and this has really gone viral here. And I'm no great supporter. I hate insurance companies like anybody else, but there is a natural inclination to become enraged at State Farm for this move. But it's also fair to say that we should be asking why insurance companies, and State Farm's not the only one, are canceling these very expensive policies in this state where they're making a lot of money. I mean, they're getting probably $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per house every single year to insure it. Why would you turn that money away? And the answer is because simultaneously the state government mandated that they could not raise rates, as trying to help people afford them. But at the same time, the government is refusing to create a safe environment for homeowners. They're not clearing brush. They're not preparing for disasters, as we just talked about. Insurance is a business, and they have the smartest actuaries in the world work for these insurance companies. They are paid to predict the future, and they have decided, they've looked at everything, and they've said that this state has lost its mind. The environmentalists control it all, and this state is going to burn. Why should we sit here and just have to pay for all of it as a private company? And that's exactly what's happening.
Right. And we've seen that even here in Arizona in areas that are more prone to fires, where it's almost unaffordable to have insurance anymore. And this is why we need policies, and there's going to have to come from the government to thin out these forests so that a spark does not end up taking down in Arizona hundreds of thousands of acres and wiping out entire communities, and in California with the high winds and areas that are fire prone. We don't see what just happened. But we've got to get to the bottom of better policy. It's not going to come from people like Gavin Newsom and these environmentalists who care more about an insect and protecting an insect or a tiny fish than the human species. It's upside down and backwards. And the good news is, if you just talk to Stephen Miller, there's some big, wonderful changes coming for America. And that includes the blue cities and the blue states. We're going to come to the rescue and turn things around. And I think America's got some bright days ahead. But boy, are we praying for California right now and everyone who lost their homes. We've got friends who lost homes. Yeah. It's devastating. And the rebuilding part's going to be difficult and devastating for them as well.
Yeah, I lived out there for a couple of years. The Palisades was such a beautiful area. Such a beautiful
Gorgeous.
Area. Some of the best real estate in the world, and it's all gone. The whole thing's an ashtray now. It's terrible. It's unforgivable. Kari Lake, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.